This is an instructional video on how to adjust the gap between the friction wheel and the drive disc on the multi-mixer unit. Make sure the unit is unplugged before you begin. You will need a spindle setting gauge. It's a 1/32 inch thick piece of metal that is supplied with your unit. And you will also need a medium-sized flathead screwdriver. To check the gap on the spindle, take the spindle setting gauge and gently run it through between the drive disc and the friction wheel. They should both turn. You should feel a gentle drag going through it. If you slide it through, like is being demonstrated, and neither the friction wheel or the drive disc turn, the gap is too big and must be readjusted. To readjust the gap, take the medium-sized screwdriver and loosen the two screws that are nearest the spindle housing assembly. You will need to gently move the spindle housing forward to shorten the gap between the drive disc and the friction wheel. This may need to be performed several times in order to get the gap correct. After you adjust with the screwdriver, take the spindle setting gauge and recheck the gap. Again, a good gap will just be a light drag between both the friction wheel and the drive disc, and both of them should turn. The gap is still too wide. We will need to readjust the gap closer. If you feel too much of a drag, the gap may be too close. You will again need to loosen up the screws and pull it away from the friction wheel.